Started recording. Now we are going to deal with rule number 13. One of those rules which comes in picture if you are a faster ship. Now this is about overtaking. Now, what we saw yesterday was we completed the first 10 rules which apply in all conditions of visibility. 11 told us the rules in this section, section 2, will apply when vessels are seen from one another. That means both must see each other. It cannot be one sees other, but not the first one can't see the second one. Not that way. Then we saw rule number 12 is about sailing vessels. And rule number 13 starts about movement of the ships. Overtaking. Now the first part. Here the notwithstanding anything contained in the rules of part B. Part B is the one where we started from rule number 4. When they apply in all conditions of visibility. Sections 1 and 2. Okay, 1 and 2. 1 we have already completed. And this is the 2 what we are dealing right now. Okay, so there we start. So first part is any vessel overtaking shall keep out of the way of the vessel being overtaken. Now this says in a very simple language is regardless of what is anywhere in these rules, the rules of part B section 1 and 2. Here we are very clear about it. Any vessel overtaking any other. Now again any vessel means it can be power driven vessel. It can be a sailing vessel. So it can be anything. It is not necessarily a power driven vessel. It can be anything overtaking any other. Now you can even have a situation where you will say a ship is towing something and says that is restricted in her ability to maneuver, and she is going to overtake something. In this case also, because she is overtaking, she shall keep out of the way of the vessel being overtaken. Now this can also apply to vessel not under command making way through the water, because engine has just failed. Your ship has got 12 knot speed, 10 knot speed, and you may be overtaking. So if you are overtaking, you have to keep clear. Normally this sort of a situation won't come. These are more like discussions over a glass of beer during exams. But one thing is clear, anybody overtaking other must keep out of the way of the vessel being overtaken. Straightforward. Don't expect any action from vessel being overtaken. They will just do what they were doing. You are overtaking, you go around. That is your problem. Now, how do you know you are overtaking? Okay. Now, you see, we have got two types of situation. One is during daylight hours and other one is during night hours. Now, daylight hours, you can see the ship and you can see it is coming closer. Relative distance is dropping. That means you know you are overtaking. But when you are doing that, you see that ship ahead of you, somewhere in the front sector. And we see that, okay, she is coming closer and I had to overtake. Now, night time, there is another situation. So that is where we will go through this now. A vessel shall be deemed to be under overtaking when coming up with other vessel. Means when you are coming up on other ship from a direction more than 22.5 degrees above their beam. Now 22.5 degrees above the beam is the sector of masthead lights, which goes from port to starboard, and side lights, that is right ahead to 22.5 degrees above the beam on port side, red light, starboard side, green light, and masthead light, which goes from port to starboard, the whole arc. Correct? So, this means you have to be in a position that you cannot see masthead light or side lights, and you are coming up, means you are moving ahead. So in the beginning, at night, what will you see? You can't see the side lights, you can't see the masthead light. So only light you will see at night time when you are overtaking other ship will be stern light of the ship. Only the stern light. Because when you say stern light, you cannot see any other navigating lights. So first you will see only the stern light. That is the first condition. That means you know, and that sunlight is approaching, means the ship is getting closer to you, means you have to keep clear because you are overtaking other ship. Now another question here. Okay. The thing is, at night time I see stern light. Stern light is one white light, correct? I see the white light. But how do I know I am approaching that ship? Means I am faster than her. Because at night time you are in 2 dimension. You do not know the distance. For that, you will have radar, which is always in use. That is one part, the standard thing. Okay, radar will be there, or you will have other navigational things which will show you that the ship is there. AIS is there. Now, assuming these things are not there, just for the sake of assumption, okay, just for argument, I see a white light in front of me. According to ROR, there are a lot of possibilities, but if I am heading for a white light, means I will collide with that white light. So the logical sense tells me alter course and keep clear of that white light. That is the logical sense. So before somebody comes out with this sort of a question, I am giving you the answer. But under normal circumstances, you will see only the white light, stern light of the ship, but you will not see her side lights. If you don't see side lights, you can't see masthead lights. Simple. Now, this is for me because I am overtaking. Then, if I have got a doubt, am I overtaking, or sometimes I am not very clear, because when we say the part which is underlined here is from a direction of more than 22.5 degrees above the beam. Now ships are yawing at sea. Other ship can judge it better whether you are coming up from the from a direction of more than 22.5 degrees above, but I can't be sure about it. Night time I am quite clear. Why? Because I will see only one light. One light means I know that is sunlight and I am overtaking. But daytime it can be a issue because you will not know the aspect of the ship easily. So if there is a doubt, now okay, we are discussing ROR here, but under normal circumstances, you shall be plotting the ships and you will know by help of radar you are overtaking and how much you are overtaking. That is a standard thing. But when we talk about ROR, here the ships must be seen from each other. So the radar doesn't come in picture when we discuss ROR. Okay, now we come to the sea. Whether there is a doubt, you assume you are overtaking. Why there is a doubt in mind? Doubt in mind, so you have to say yes or no. So you say yes, I am overtaking and I will act accordingly, means I will keep clear of the ship. Now, you are overtaking, correct? And you find that ship has altered course. Suppose you were overtaking from starboard side and she has altered course. And you think that this is like a crossing situation now. So here we are talking about it. Any subsequent alteration of bearing between two vessels shall not make overtaking vessel a crossing vessel. Means, when you were overtaking, say my ship, from starboard side, first you saw only stern light, then you came more, and then you saw my green light. Okay, that means you have been coming upon me. Now, you are keeping clear, but that is right now. Now I alter course to starboard because my destination is like that, I alter. So, because I alter, it doesn't mean now the situation has changed. The situation was established earlier that you have been overtaking, and that remains same. It is not going to change saying now, oh, I am a crossing vessel. Now it is other ship's responsibility, it is my responsibility to keep clear. No. Once it is established, you are overtaking till the other ship is finally passed and clear. No excuse of any kind saying that, but he did this, he did that. No. Overtaking is overtaking. You are overtaking, you are responsible. That's it. No second thoughts. Yes, that one, when you are overtaking, may act little funny and all because may alter course to starboard and you are overtaking from starboard side. So you will have to still alter more to make sure that ship is clear, because responsibility lies with you in totality. Now here in this rule specifically puts total responsibility on overtaking vessel. No leeway, no percentage, nothing. Now, at night, generally, if somebody is overtaking you, by bearing you will have an idea, but there will be always a doubt when you are just on the arc, like little bit here, little bit there, whatever. So, that time you always assume. Now, the second condition what happens is, you are overtaking me, I take your bearing. I see that you are just on this, whether you are crossing or overtaking, I am not clear. That we are going to come in other rule. But in that case, when we come to that rule, okay, we'll go to that rule and then we will talk about it. Otherwise, you have to read this Tippanniya, okay? Because in the end, your ROR is meant for master's level. Okay, there is nothing like the cadet's ROR is different from captain's ROR. It is all same. Now we come to rule number 14. Let's see how many are there now. 69. Good. Rule number 14. Head-on situation means bang in front of me, somebody is coming. That is head-on. When two power-driven vessels are meeting on reciprocal, now here we are talking two power-driven vessels. It is not sailing vessel. Sailing vessel rules we have already cleared, rule number 12. That depends on the wind direction, windward and all. Okay. Now we are talking head-on situation. We are talking between two power-driven vessels are meeting on reciprocal or nearly reciprocal course. So there can be small variation, but so as to involve risk of collision. There is a risk of collision. So what happens? Each shall alter course to starboard, so it shall pass on port side of the other. I turn right, you turn right. Okay, I alter to starboard, you alter to starboard, we are clear. A general understanding. Now this in reality check, we have this problem. You will notice this happening every day when you are in classrooms and walking around in alleyways and on passageways. Somebody is walking right in front of you. It happens on the road. So what is normal reaction on road? Because we don't have any specific rules on road. So there is a confusion. One turns right, other guy turns left, again they come in front of each other, sometimes they collide with each other, then sorry, everything goes on. Okay. Whereas at sea, if you bang with each other, it's going to be a serious affair. One of them can sink. So, what we do? We alter course to starboard. Then, at this sort of a situation, how do you know it's happening? Daytime, you can see in front, and when she comes closer, because daytime you see the ships at longer distances. Comes closer, you will see her mast and all more or less in line. So you realize that yes, we are on reciprocal course within say plus minus 3-4 degrees of my heading. So I am on reciprocal course or approximately close by. Now, at night, I will see masthead lights in one line. That means one masthead light on top of another masthead light, or about similar situation. Now, that is the first thing. I will always see masthead lights in line or nearly in a line. When she comes closer, then I will see both her side lights. Now, there will be some argument saying that the ship's breadth is about 50 meters and I am on this side. How can I see both? Believe me, practically you are going to see both, because there is a small deviation or error margin is permitted when you do screening of the side lights. When you do screening of the side lights, it is expected there will be small error, and which will make it possible for you to see both the side lights. So, first you will see two masthead lights in line, then you will see both the masthead lights plus side lights in bang in front of you. That is the situation. Then, if there is a doubt, like what happens, I am supposed to look straight. Now my ship is going like this, yawing. So, this is again we are talking relative. I see you little bit finer on port side, sometimes I see you on starboard side. Something is happening, I am not sure. I have a doubt, or sometimes I feel, oh, you are little bit on starboard side. Okay, I think maybe okay, not okay. I'm not sure. Because my relative bearing may be 3 degrees on starboard bow, but 3 degrees on starboard bow is almost in front of me. So there is a doubt. In that case, I have a doubt. I assume that this is the end-on situation. End-on means head-on situation. So I take action according to the rule. That is, alter my course to starboard, ensuring that we pass port to port. So, whenever there is a doubt, we assume that is the case, because then I assume the case and I accept my responsibility. Because this sort of a situation comes sometimes, especially in bad weather. In bad weather, ships don't steer straight. If I'm trying to steer, say, 000, in bad weather, my heading can go to something like 350 to 010. Ship will be swinging by 20 degrees. In that case, if I start looking at other ship, because I'm looking for relative bearing which should be very close to 000, I may not get it right. Then there is a doubt in my mind. So I assume there is a head-on situation. I alter course to starboard. Now, here when you take action here, you have to be quick for simple reason. In end-on situation, both the ships are hurling towards each other at their full speed. So relative speed is like more than double, assuming most of the ships are at 15 knots. So relative speed is something like say 30 knots of approach. Speed of approach is 30 knots. Now, 30 knots means 1 nautical mile in 2 minutes. Correct? Side lights of a small ship ranges only 2 nautical miles. So if you are going to see both the side lights, you have got 4 minutes to clear that ship. So it has to work more as instinct. Because moment you see something that close, you alter course, because by the time your ship starts swinging, means starts moving, means you give the help, but she will not start moving like that. So in that case, 1 minute will go, 1.5, 2 minutes will go. So moment you see side lights of other ship, you assume you are between 2 to 3 nautical miles and just give wide alteration. Okay, wide alteration is something like 60 degrees from the original course. This is the reason. Now, of course, this is one can keep on arguing that I have got radar, I have been plotting that shape, I am clear, agreed. In that case, you might be taking action earlier, but in that case, like if you are taking action, say at 8 miles, we are not invoking this rule. We are invoking just the rule number 8, because early warning. In this case, to apply this rule, ships must be seen from one another. Daytime, you may see at longer range and you might take action, but you should be able to see the ship. Then only the rule applies. So, it has to be more instinctive, because of what reason I had told you approach speed may be something like 30 knots. That gives you only 4 minutes to collision, or maybe 5 minutes. Because side light range is only 3 nautical miles, 2 nautical miles, right? Or it can be even 1 nautical mile. So, moment you detect in front of you, you should be able to move sideways quickly. And in practicality, if it is a small one, okay, they will not have speed to match your speed under normal circumstances, because smaller ones, commercial vessels, will be going at maybe slower speed, 6 knots, 8 knots. You might be doing 15 knots. So they will not be able to collide with you that easily if you take the action. So you are a big brother, you have to take the action. Let's move to next rule. Interesting one. Okay, because on this there are always issues about crossing situation. Rule 15 deals with crossing situations. Simple rule. When two power-driven vessels are crossing so as to involve risk of collision, that means what we have seen in rule number 7 and all, you take the bearing. I have got some target on starboard side. I look at the ship, I take the compass bearing. Now, we are moving. After 2 minutes, compass bearing is not changing. Another 2 minutes, compass bearing is not changing, means you are crossing and you are on collision course. So, if it is on starboard side, I know this one is having a problem with me, there is a risk of collision. So, here the part comes. The vessel which has the other on her starboard side, because I gave you example, I saw on starboard side, I took the bearing again, and I realized bearing is not appreciably changing. So, we are on a crossing situation and there is a risk of collision. So, you are on my starboard side and the rule is telling me the vessel which has the other on her own starboard side shall keep out of the way. Means I must take action and I must take clear of you. Why? Because you are on my starboard side. Now, at the same time, is it possible that I am also on your starboard side? Not possible in crossing situation. If you draw the ships, you will realize no. Because if I am also on your starboard side, starboard to starboard, everything is clear. That means you are just passing me, nothing else. So, there is only one case where I will have you on starboard side and you will have me on your port side. If I am bang up right ahead of you, that means I am at collision point, and by the time you reach here, I will be away. So that there is no risk of collision there. Risk of collision is a must. And then, since you are on my starboard side, it's my responsibility to keep clear of you. And if the circumstances of the case admit, avoid crossing ahead of the other vessel. Now, this is the situation. You are coming from my starboard side. Now, I have got a choice. Either go in front of you or go astern of you. Now, theoretically, a lot of things can be said. There are two ways of clearing you. One way or the other, I have to keep clear. Fine. Shorter method will be for me to go to starboard side, go via your stern. Shorter method. But for some specific reason, I cannot alter to starboard. I have an option. I have got option of altering course to port and cross ahead of you. I have an option available, which the rule is telling me, if the circumstances of the case admit, if the circumstances permit, don't take this option. Option is there, but I should not take the option. If the circumstances of case admit, what is this? Why create unnecessary excitement? We like peace. So, we generally look at it, go astern of the other one. Now, there are more reasons why we don't cross ahead of other one. One reason, I may be faster ship. Fine. Okay, I'm faster ship. I can alter course to port and cross ahead and go back to my course. It's possible. There can be water depth issues and all. It generally shouldn't be case in open seas. But that option, if I have to take, there should be a very, very good reason. Otherwise, don't. Because one of the important things, whenever these actions have been decided, what action you should be taking. Realize one thing, we always assume your ship's engine can fail any time. It is not a foolproof situation that ship's engine shall not fail. Okay, so this is the important part. If I am suppose crossing ahead of you, okay, my circumstances of case don't admit, so I decide to cross ahead of you, and suppose my engine fails. We can have an embarrassing situation because you are already thinking that, okay, yes, that guy is keeping clear, why should I bother? Of course, there is another rule telling you that you have to monitor it, and if you realize that my action is not good enough, then you have to take action to stay clear. Means one way or the other, there shouldn't be collision. But here, keep it simple. Avoid crossing ahead of the other vessel. But always remember that this is an option available. You have to decide whether you need to use it or no. If the circumstances of the case are admitting, don't use this option. This is what the rule is telling you. Like rest of the things here. Okay. Now, if there is a risk of collision, then only we are looking at this action. Okay. If there is no risk of collision, this rule will not come in picture only. All the rules, when we are talking, end on risk of collision exists. Overtaking, we never saw risk of collision, but we said overtaking vessel must keep clear. So you should not get into that risk of collision business. Crossing vessels, we are very clear. If there is a risk of collision, then only action comes in. If there is no risk of collision, there is no action. Rule number 16. Don't worry, when I am doing this, I am checking the time also. Action by give way vessel. Okay, it's also simple rule. See, you all have been complaining, no? Why should you know these rules and all? Some rules are lengthy, but like here, this rule is what? 1.5 line? Now, okay. Now, there are two things. When we are dealing with these rules of this section, we are defining give way vessel means somebody who has to give way, take action and keep clear out of the other. and other one is a stand-on vessel that we will come to the next. Now, we are talking right now give-way vessel. Now here, again we come to every vessel. That means again sailing ships, everybody involved. Every vessel which is directed to keep out of the way of another vessel, means by these rules, it tells you very specifically, keep out of the way of another vessel because there is a situation that is a risk of collision exists. So far as possible, again see the wording, so far as possible, take early and substantial action to keep well clear. Means, so far as possible, take early and substantial action. It is like, the moment you realize there is a risk of collision, take action. Don't wait till last minute. Like people like to sit on fences. They don't go on this side or that side. That is what the rule is telling you. Don't do the fence sitting. You take action as early as possible and substantial action. Just because you're taking early action doesn't mean you take thoda sa hi main karunga, zyada kya zarurat hai. No. Take substantial action. That one action should clear all the doubts from everybody's mind and clear the other ship, and there will be no more risk of collision after the action is complete. That is the action. Now, here, see, everything what we are talking is, we are putting onus of responsibility only on one ship, except in a case of rule number 14, that is where we saw end-on, means head-on situation. Only in head-on situation, both vessels are responsible for action. Anywhere else, it is one ship which is the give-way vessel and other one is stand-on vessel. So we move to the next rule. Now this, whatever the additional things I have written, okay, whatever additional things I have written, you have to read. Now, this is important part. What happens is there is over-reliance on radars in practical world. That is one of the most dangerous situations. There are limitations of each and everything. There are limitations. There is nothing without limitation. Everything has got some limitation, and you as a professional must know the limitations. Now, what is the radar information is, it is picking up a target, it is an echo, and it is interpreting from that. So, there are limitations on radar echoes and all. It is added up on the sides, then depends on from which point it picked up the echo, etc., etc. Like this part, touch and go incidents, which has happened, you wonder why he hit only on the stern somewhere, just glancing below. But collision is a collision. This generally happens because of this radar issues. CPA given by radar is not what you say lucky or a line on the stone that cannot be changed. No. There are errors on that, and misinterpreting that data has ended up with collision. Now, one thing remember, CPA is what? A radar is picking up signal and then you are calculating closest possible approach, okay? So, that one. It is some sort of calculation done from the data given. But the data was obtained by a radar by using radar scanner. Now, scanner position is what is dealing with CPA, not the length of the ship. Ship is longer. Ship is 250 meters ahead of the scanner. So what will you do? So you are talking about the radar scanner can miss this thing collision, but that doesn't mean your bow is going to miss the collision. This is what it is saying. And another one has been like use of AIS. AIS plotters are also there now. AIS also will have its limitations because AIS is going to give its aerial's position. There are antennas, so it will give antenna position. So again, it is not dealing with the whole thing. Ship is like a big box, and you need a dynamic zone creation that we will see afterwards sometime. Okay, if we get time. That is the method which is used to work out algorithms today. Another one is most of the companies are going to tell you at sea, don't get within 1.5 to 2 miles from other ship, because that will take care of all the errors. No, I may think I'm going to pass 2 miles from your ship, and suddenly I realize I didn't pass 2 miles, man. I passed 1.5 miles. Why? Because it was accumulated errors from variety of equipment. So this is where the problems come. People do not realize there are errors in the system which you can't correct. They can get accumulated, and they can have they can create errors on your judgment. Your judgments will be with errors. So that is why we generally say keep well clear. No, why do you want to go close? काम नहीं करना है उसके साथ, तो लंबाई रखो उसको. Now read all this, okay, and then in case you can't understand, then ask me, even though the language is very simple. Action by stand on. We have seen the action by give a vessel. Yes, 1 minute. I'll pause it here. Let's see what Yash wants. You tell me on chat. Yes, tell me on chat. Not too much. मैं यश को पूछ रहा है. It's not too much because this is the one we will finish, and then you will have next rule is a big one and very important one. So the rule number 19 is one which we will not do today anyway. But I have to give you some sufficient for you, no? So Yash is not forthcoming. Okay, we move on. Okay. Now we saw the action by give a vessel, which was quite straightforward. Right? It says that you must take action to keep and take early and substantial action. That circumstances, case, etc., etc. Now here it is telling you what a stand-on vessel must do. If one is going to keep clear, right, the give a vessel is going to keep clear, what stand-on vessel should do? Continue on her course and speed. Just maintain her, keep her course and speed. Don't do anything. Just do what you were doing earlier. Now what happens is, you are taking action and I am watching you. I am stand on. You are give way. Now the stand on vessel may, however, take action to avoid collision by maneuver alone. That means my single action should get me in clear situation. As soon as it becomes apparent to me that you are not taking appropriate action, then I must take action to save myself, and my action should not be like a joint venture between your action and my action. My action should be my maneuver alone. My action should be independent of what you are doing, and it must clear the situation. That is how I must look at it. Another one is when, from any cause, never mind, okay, I am supposed to keep my course and speed. I suddenly find I am close. And collision cannot be avoided by action of give a vessel alone. That means you are taking the action, but I realize that is not going to be good enough. In that case, I shall take action that will be best aid to avoid collision. Because in this case, in 2, I realize you are not taking appropriate action. In this B, what I am doing is, I realize your action is not going to clear me. You have taken action. Now that is the difference. Here you are not taking action, and here you have taken action, but I realize it's not good enough, we will collide. In that case, I will take such action that is best to avoid collision. Now, nowhere it is telling you which direction you alter the course. Nowhere is telling you. It is telling you you have to take action. And it is defined who should be taking action. Now, the next part. Forward driven vessel, that is what we are referring back to the crossing vessel. Okay. The stand-on vessel was the one which was on my starboard, and your ship is on my port side because you are giveaway vessel. Now what happens is, you are taking action, you are not taking action. I have got a issue. You may not be taking action. Okay, Bhagya, wait. You are not taking action. I mean, you are not taken yet. What I should do is, if I have got option of going to port here, but since you are on my port side, and there is a good likelihood that you will alter course to starboard. If the circumstances of the case admit, I shall not alter course to port for vessel on my port side. I am a stand-on vessel, and if I am forced to take action, forced, why? Because either your action is not sufficient or you are not taking action. It has become apparent to me that you are not taking action. So I had to take action. In that case, I shall not alter course to port if the circumstances of the case admit. Means I have an option of going to port, but I don't want to go to port. I don't want to use this option because circumstances permit me to do something else. So I shall not alter course to port. I may alter course to starboard to just buy extra time. But this is one of the important questions you will get regularly in your vivas. Okay, and this rule does not relieve giveaway vessel. That means there is somebody who is a giveaway. They have to get out of the way. They have to keep out of the way. But this rule, just because there is a provision made that stand-on vessel may take action if required, doesn't mean giveaway vessel's responsibilities are over or her obligation. No, this is what this rule is telling you. Now this is 17. The 18 one is about responsibilities between the ships. Okay, this is too big. We will do it tomorrow. But now, Bhagya, what is the thing now? Let me see on chat. What is it? Pranay, put it there on the chat one. I can read on chat whatever you are saying. Okay, sorry. I put it now, chat with host. Okay, tell me. Okay, whoever has got doubt, just ask me. We will do 18, 19 next week. Sahal, read, do little research. Okay. The problem is you all have to get more actively involved because you are on your own now. You are 18 plus, grown up, overage in some states of India even for marriage, and overqualified. I heard that is another issue in some places. There is one guy I know, brilliant guy. One, his father has got a business in Pune, stone, and he's a very close friend of my brother-in-law. Absolute brilliant guy. A single kid, no siblings, akela. And okay, Jitendra, the flags we will be doing day after tomorrow because tomorrow no class. Day after tomorrow we'll finish the flags, because many of you have already reached end of questionnaire. Okay, and that is where they have already covered code of safe working practices and all, and I have told you hold on to flags because we will do it day after tomorrow. In one lecture we'll finish everything on flags, so do some reading. Okay, coming back to this guy, he became chief officer, Rajasthani guy, huh? So he became chief officer, and he came back. So father said, "Abhi nothing doing, you don't go back anywhere, idhar hi raho." So I was curious. I asked this question, इसको क्यों रुका है? He's a brilliant guy. He can do whatever he wants. No, हमारे समाज में they are Jains. We will not get girl for him. Why? Because he will be too successful. So that is not acceptable. So I don't know whether that was excuse or to keep him in family business. Because family business also does very well, whatever it is. Father is not that old, so it shouldn't be an issue, but I don't know. So many of you are already overgrown for marriageable age. So now stand on own. Okay, start finding some answers. Do little research. Talk to each other. Whatever you do. But in the end, what? After you get out of the college, what you're going to carry your guru with you over? All gurus are retired guys. We had 73 guys here. Very good, more or less. Okay, some guys are missing somehow. So now anything more, or should I close the meeting? And I'm ending meeting for all.